welcome to Papa Tom's Garage. Today we're going to work on my Fusion. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. I have to do it on my driveway. So what do we have to do to get this car that sits pretty low on a ramp? I had to build ramps to get onto the ramps, but it worked. Got my tires blocked. My flat spot's taken up by my truck, which hasn't moved since last November. We're down almost to the road. Don't have much room on my property. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna change the oil. So let's get under here. It's got a little cover, 10 millimeter, but it takes Torx, as you can see. So it's got this cover that covers up the bottom of this car. Looks like something's leaked. You can see the light in the dark, something's leaking, so we got to take a look at that. But let me get the Torx wrench, get this cover off, see what we got. It's got covers all over the place. Keeps the underneath clean, makes it a pain to change the oil. Now you ask, or I always ask, I can't remember where the oil filter was. It's been a while. Let's see. Oh, there it is. You see it right there? It's right there. So then you got to reach up in there and undo the oil filter. But before we take the oil filter out, we're going to put a drain pan under here, and we're going to take out, where is it? There it is, the drain plug. Move that cover back far enough. I see where my oil leak is coming from. Let's see if it's something I'm going to have to address, probably before too long. I don't know. Looks like, do you see it right up here? And it's all oily and everything down here. And of course the transmission is one of those that doesn't have a dipstick. You have to kind of fill it through a hole, I think. I gotta do some research on how to do that. I think this is the drain plug. Should be another, I think there's supposed to be a bleeder and a few other things to do these. I'm not supposed to have to do them very often, but when you got it, looks like maybe the universal or the half shaft that drives the front wheel, where the seal is in the transmission, possibly that's leaking. I don't think it's the boot for the constant velocity. No, that rubber boot looks good, so it looks like it's probably that seal. So we're gonna have to address that. But for now, what we're working on is the oil. Okay, here we are. Here's the oil plug. I've got my oil drain thing container put here. Got a little block so it's sitting almost flat. But I'm gonna undo the oil plug. And just be careful if you drive your car very far. It could be very hot. I always like to try to keep my hand and my arm out of the way. Let it go in there. You know, people say, like, watching paint dry. How about watching oil come out of the car? This thing uses 520 synthetic. I use Mobil 1. I've used Mobil 1 on most all my cars for, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. I've just had good results with it. And I don't know, can you see that little oil stream? It's almost done draining. So then what I'll do is I'll put the plug back in. I'll take the oil filter off, let it drain out, then open the drain plug again, and any more oil, get as much out as I can. Okay, so I've got my oil filter wrench on that wrench. I didn't show me putting that on in the with the camera because that took me 2 hands. It's really tight, but I tried to get that. And it'll start draining out here pretty soon. And I'll let that drain a little bit so I don't make a complete mess. You can see the oil coming off that the cooler lines. I think those might go up to the turbo. You know, this engine's kind of cool. It's called an EcoBoost. It's got a little tiny turbocharger on it, and it's, well, that's draining. I can shoot, and it's right up there. You can see it above the half shaft there. That's the little turbo. Thing puts out some pretty good little horsepower. I can't remember. I think it was like 170 horsepower, something like that. I have to look it up again. It's only a 1.6 liter engine, but it's kind of cool what they've done. They've made it almost impossible to work on these for the normal guy, but they get a lot out of them, out of these little engines. A little engine that could. Take that off. See if I can do this without making a complete mess. Usually it's a mess. I'm going to take that filter off without the camera because I got to use 2 hands. Okay, got it off. Sitting in the oil drain thing. It was pretty easy. I just needed 2 hands to get it past the hoses. Had to get it, instead of coming straight down from there, I had to kind of push this hose out of the way to get the filter fit out through there. Let that drain for just a second or minute or whatever. Filter. Maximum efficiency. Let's see, we'll open this box up. If I can get my body out of here. Huh. They even got a little plastic cover over that. So, okay, one thing I noticed, the quality control's not the, I guess, the greatest, but the gasket, you always want to check that gasket because it wasn't all the way down in the groove. So I mean, it pushes in really easy. Something you always want to check. Make sure it's down in there. And then I take a little bit of the oil that's in here. Make sure it's clean. I like to just put a little bit on the seal, and that just helps lubricate that as you put it on. It's not that it doesn't require it, but I've done that since I was 14 years old working on cars. So then we can set that out of the way, kind of take our rag before we just kind of wipe this off. Then you can kind of see here, as I get the new one in, you have to kind of go up between the two hoses. My hand's in the way, but I don't know how else to do this. And then you gotta get it right up in here. Okay, as it's up there, then you just twist it on, get it to where the gasket seats. Let's see if I can show that without dripping oil on it. Okay, the gasket is just starting to seat. And then once it seats, you want to take it a quarter of a turn. The problem is, I can't get my hand on there. And of course, they usually say the manufacturers don't use a wrench to tighten it up. Well, they do that because people over tighten them. So what we want to do is get the wrench back on here. And then right on those little ribs, and just get it about a quarter of a turn. Looks like I'm doing more than that, but I'm having to move the wrench back and forth, back and forth. And that should be good. Now, okay, so remember I said earlier, I want to drain this again. Let's see how much oil comes out of here now, after we've changed the filter. And we're gonna pull this off again and get some more, should have some more oil coming out of here. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there's a little rib of oil, and the wind's starting to blow, so you got to kind of adjust your drain container. Okay, really make sure when you're under the car you really look at things. See for leaks, loose connections, loose bolts, loose or broken engine mounts. You can kind of check the belt, which is over there. It's a good time. Oil pans and everything are all aluminum anymore. They integrate this stuff so much. That little bit of oil is still draining out of there. Okay, once that stopped draining out, we put the oil plug back in. Get our 13mm wrench. Snug this guy up a little bit. Well, a lot. I mean, we don't want it to leak. I like to use the box end or a socket because it doesn't strip the bolt out. Okay, take my rag, clean off the oil, so when I start this thing it doesn't show anything. I did the same at the oil filter. See, there's no oil. That way I'm going to start it up without that bottom cover on it, and that way I can check for leaks. I'm going to move this, and then we're going to go up top. Okay, so I like to use Mobil 1 2050. Cars driving by. So get this set up, get this thing filled up. As long as the wind doesn't start blowing, we should be able to make this without a funnel. Check it right there, clean that off. Go back down the hole. And I'm sitting on an angle, so I have to be really careful. I got to start this thing up, make sure I have oil pressure again, check for leaks, and I need to be on the flat to check it again. So we'll get this thing fired up, hopefully. Let it run for a little, go underneath. Thing clattering a little bit. No leaks. Okay, so I got this filled up. What I have to do is I put in, it holds 4.3 quarts plus in the filter. When I get out on the flat, I will be able to check it better. I also have the window washer fluid to check, but I gotta go put the underneath skirt and clean up underneath a little bit. Okay. Okay, I got the bottom pan back in, the screws are all in. I would highly suggest not using a impact wrench, anything like that, because these screws go up into a little plastic insert and they strip really easy. Just use a Torx screwdriver or socket set if it's Torx. And yeah. Okay, last thing, clean up. Make sure you always clean up your mess, because too many times people just throw it in a pile. That's all my tools. We'll take it over here. I like this tool set I have. It's a full set pretty much of just hand tools, and it's a Craftsman. And the nice thing about it is I carry it in my car. I don't know how many times I've had to help somebody out there, and I happen to have a set of tools in my car. Carry jumper cables, set of tools. That's pretty much anymore. That's about all I have. This goes in another toolbox. It's always good to be prepared. You never know when you're going to be out there and you break down, even in a new car. When I opened this today, it has this lid right here. It came open on me. I had to pick up all my sockets. It's supposed to stay latched. So usually I'll take and close this going like this, and then it stays. But being that it rides in the back of my car, makes a mess. Okay, part of cleanup is getting rid of the old oil. Now, the local garbage company I have You can get oil. Hang on. There's the oil recycle. They send these little plastic bags for the filter. And these big containers. I think I can do 2 or 3 oil changes, unless it's like a big truck. But my car, 2 or 3. Set it out by column, set it out at the roadside, and they come pick it up. So, I think that's it for Papa Tom's Garage. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get my most recent videos. See if I can get this on my face. Yeah, tell a friend. Share this. I'd like to get this out there. And until next time, thank you for watching Papa Tom's Garage. Bye.